Welcome everyone to this very extra special program. It's your holiday season now, and it's our Christmas episode, baby. I hope everybody's been doing good since the last episode. You are now entering the conspiracy sector, and I'm just so excited because Christmas time is here once again, and it's time to be festive. There's nothing quite like this time of the year. And Chris, I remember one of our first ever episodes was dealing with Krampus. And
Hmm.
obviously, he's one of the favorite characters of this subject and nature and everything along that line. And I hope
Krampus is.
everybody's been being good this year, or else maybe Krampus might come see you.
Oh yeah, and yeah, Krampus. Yeah, I found out he's not the only one either. We'll get to that in a little while, but it's like with Krampus, he's like the quintessential like holiday villain. So the antithesis to Santa Claus. Where kids would either get. There's one version where the kids get eaten, and then there's another one where the kids get beaten. So it's like I've noticed.
Eaten or beaten?
Beaten or beaten. I've noticed it's like it's a good way to scare kids, and we found out from the Krampus Claus Christmas episode that it was based on a cryptid, but then it was kind of morphed into the story after a while.
And I want to bring that up too. The whole good evil thing. It's the whole good evil thing. It's kind of like the devil and God, or else Santa and Krampus.
Mhm,
Good and evil. So it's kind of the characters of Christmas, I guess per se,
mhm.
uh, have origins of being, of the whole good or bad. So I just think it's kind of intriguing how all those things intermingle to create a storyline to, make you act a certain way
Oh yeah.
throughout the
Oh
year.
yeah, we've all done that to kids if we want them to act a certain way. Like a friend of mine, what we told his kids was, we told them zombies were outside so they wouldn't run out into traffic, kind of thing. So it's a
Hmm.
common thing if you're trying to keep kids from getting hurt. I've noticed that parents will do that, and then sometimes some things fall into legend. It just so happens with Krampus, it was two things. Where it was that and it was an actual cryptid. So it was two things with that. But
Hmm.
I've noticed this time and again, parents are always doing this. Sometimes it's psychologically damaging, I will say, but just like, oh, if you're good, Santa gives you presents. Some people
Yeah.
object to that. Some people object to that. They object to even a kid being told about Santa. And some people think it's robbing them of childhood if you don't. There's that fight that continues on even today.
Hmm.
So a psychological kind of battle that goes on with that. Uh, but yeah, it's interesting. I looked up this morning. I wanted to see how many the different stories there were.
And
The
that's
different.
the surprising thing too, is that's what I wanted to bring up in the beginning of the episode before we get into it is uh uh most of the time we get fixated on the traditional characters like Santa and Krampus, but there's a lot more characters throughout the world that I'm sure that we could spend all afternoon talking about, but it's a lot more in depth than that. And as far as I'm concerned, we were kind of talking this in pre-show. Uh, we're more in the traditional sense of celebration and also the traditional sense of research as in real paranormal events and possible real creatures. I know some of these things are fake and, they're just intriguing to talk about. But we're talking pre-show too, I think you could almost include, things like Santa's reindeer and stuff into that are probably completely fictional, but you can throw those into the
Mhm.
weird and strange. We were kind of bringing up like pre-show how there's no uh like paranormal conferences anymore and no UFO conferences. It's just like things like Comic Con and like Hollywood or Hollyweird style celebrations. But in a rare instance, I feel like you can kind of intermingle the two in several things. The other way you can intermingle the two is like we say predictive programming. Look at all these things that are in TV shows, and everything. Perhaps I've noticed in doing some research with some of these characters that we're going to talk about today, they kind of sound like some characters that we grew up watching.
Oh
I
yeah.
guess in
Oh yeah.
TV
With
shows.
also with some of those conferences out there, yeah, I've noticed that that's an environment that seems to be on death's door at the moment, and it's where every now and again you get a diamond in the rough, and then you get most of them are just kind of dwindling at the moment, especially post pandemic. So it's
Yeah, I've kind of noticed that too ever since the pandemic. And we need to do a COVID special too. I just thought about that too. We haven't done a COVID special
oh
yet.
yeah, no, yeah, I think the time has come for that. The time has passed, or we probably should.
Yeah, but now we're at a Christmas special. But maybe, well, maybe we'll do the COVID special after the Christmas special.
Happy New Year, everybody. COVID.
Yeah. Happy New Year. Let's talk about COVID, everybody. Right? This would actually be a good way to talk about COVID because it's the biggest it's the biggest scam on planet Earth as far as I'm concerned.
Biggest scam of our century. Yeah.
Yeah, but let's be jolly and not get sad right now because hopefully everybody's been good. You want me to jump right on in?
Oh yeah, jump right on it. Yeah.
I want to talk about one that I thought was pretty interesting, and I'm going to let me get the proper thing ready though. Let me go right here. And I wanted to talk about sorry.
Yeah, you're fine.
I wanted to talk about the Yule lads of Iceland and Grilla. So this is kind of like a mother and her children story, and the lads is what I was referencing earlier. Let me get to share screen here.
I
So
had those both on my list too, but that's good you brought that up.
you
Those,
did?
yeah,
Yeah. So I was wondering about that, and we'll just pick off back and forth off of each other then here. So yeah, and I was referencing to this sounds like the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
yeah, it does.
Yeah, no, this is
Of
Grilla and
Wizard
the
of
Yule
Oz
lads.
kind of thing, or something like that. Things of that nature. Or Hansel and Gretel is probably the closest.
Yeah, Hansel and Gretel. Yeah. So here's all these supposed, lore, real life stories that are being related to later on fictional characters, I guess. So one of Iceland's most beloved Christmas traditions is that of the Yule lads. And any Icelandic words, this is just a forewarning. I feel like Icelandic is the hardest language on planet Earth,
Oh,
and
it's
I
one of
don't know
them.
how to
Yeah,
pronounce it. So I'm gonna mumble through some of the Icelandic words. I can already tell you that. It's like Icelandic's version of Santa Claus, except there's no reindeer drawn sleigh, red suit, or chimney. Okay, so more like Santa's third cousins. Whoever wrote this. These 13 Yule lads are brothers from a family of trolls who live in the highlands of Iceland. They're all different characteristics that set them apart, and they live with their mother Grula, a witch. Oh, and they also have a raggedy cat named Jolkotorin. Sounds like a colorful family, but hey, who's to judge? I'm sure we all have a few interesting family members who come out of the woodwork during the holidays. The Yule lads travel long distances across the snowy Icelandic mountains to visit children one at a time in the 13 nights leading up to Christmas. Instead of cookies and milk, Icelandic children will leave the lad's favorite snack out and place a shoe, no stockings here, in their window to receive a small present. You read that right. Parents of these Icelandic children have to prepare 13 presents for their kids in the 13 days leading up to Christmas. Forget about any last minute shopping with this tradition. If they were good that year, they received a regular gift. If they were bad, they got a potato, as one does when you're bad. If I piqued your interest and you'd like to know a little bit more about each one of these Yule lad quirky traits and more, then let's get into it. We'll just thumb through them real quick. There's the Icelandic Yule lads. Holographic images of Icelandic Christmas trolls are displayed around Reykjavik during the festive season. It's so much fun to take the kids out to hunt them because some are surprisingly tricky to find. You check out the video of us Yule lad hunting below. So that'd be kind of fun. And now let me introduce you to each of them. Now this is where I'm gonna have troubles. Stick Dar.
yeah, yeah,
Sheep Shagger.
yeah, yeah.
He's the first one to show up on the 12th. He is the first to visit, and since he's the oldest, he has to leave several days before to make the long journey. His legs have become creaky and stiff in his old age. Are they talking about me? If you listen closely, you could hear his knees creaking. Yep, they're talking about me. Yeah. Favorite treats, Christmas cookies and milk. So he's like Santa.
Yeah, that's
Personality, kind and clever, but stubborn. So the nicest one must come first. Now here's Gil Jaguar and Goalie Gawk. Arrives December 13th as the biggest, tallest, and strongest of the brothers. Gil Jaguar isn't bothered by the weather or rough Icelandic terrain. He's a bit shy and likes to travel incognito. Taking care of the Christmas cat is his responsibility. Making sure that the Joe Kultorin is well fed so he doesn't get any ideas about snacking on children. Favorite treats, meat, sweets, and milk. Personality, clumsy and not very bright. Loves children and animals, even though he likes snacking on them.
yeah. He eats children. Apparently, also, if you've not gotten your children new clothes for Christmas, he will eat them. It's like you haven't gotten them a gift.
Yeah, yeah, I heard a little bit about that. And then we got Stu Fitter. He arrives on the 14th. He may might be the smallest of the brothers, but he's got the most charm. When there's been heavy snowfall, he travels with a shovel in case he has to dig through snowdrifts. It's important to leave a small chair next to the window to help him to reach his shoes. This also gives him a chance to catch his breath before moving on. Favorite treats, Skyer, whatever that is, biscuits, cheese, and meat. Personality, big heart, and bright personality.
Skyr is a form of yogurt, I believe.
Is it?
Yeah.
Uh, Poltolaskid, pot scraper, arrives on the 15th. It can be easy growing up in a house with 13 brothers. Staying fed can be tough. So, Potstaliker learned to get to the pots and pans first to grab any tasty leftovers. He also can't resist an unwashed pot of soup while going from house to house. Ugh.
That's gross. Yeah.
Cookies, milk, and sweets are his favorite treats. Personality, quick-witted and single-minded. Uh, Booze cooker, spoon liquor. He arrives on the 16th. Bruce Kidder used to suck on his thumb as a young boy. Grilla would scold him to stop, so he switched to sucking on wooden spoons instead. He especially likes spoons that have been covered in cake mix or chocolate sauce. Who doesn't, right? Favorite traits, vegetables, milk, and spoons. The personality, dopey, kind, and understanding. And then we have Alkaliskir. He arrives on the 17th. Oh, how some nicknames stuck. The Yule lad Alkaliskir got his name from his habit of licking out the food remains of an asker, a bowl used to keep food warm. He hides under beds, patiently waiting for someone to put down their askir. Alternatively, he'd happily accept a tub of Skyer. Skyer, cookies, and milk are his favorite treats. Personality, quiet and happy. Door Slammer, Huralaskir. December 18th, he arrives. If you love the sound of slamming doors, then you'll have something in common with this Yule lad. Huralaskir. Especially loves slamming them when his mother isn't around to scold him. He doesn't mean to startle the young children, he just thinks it's all good fun. I must say, this little game would never catch on in my home. Favorite treat is cheese, milk, and meat. Personality is mischievous and silly. Then we got Sky Gamer, Skyer Gamer, Skyer Glutton. Skyer Gamour is old fashioned and doesn't like change. He complains, and he arrives on the 19th, by the way. He complains that things these days aren't as good as they used to be, especially the Skyer. Not only that, he also loves to slide down mountains on his way into town. Favorite treat, Skyer, cheese, and milk. Personality confused. You never know what you'll get in your shoe. And then we got the sausage swiper, Bunjingarukir, rise on the 20th. Grilla would always make a brunga, or sausage, made of all fat and no meat. The brothers hated it, but Brunga Girskitter would gladly eat this delicious food. He's famous for hiding in the rafters and snatching sausages that are being smoked. Favorite treat, meat, cheese, and cookies. Personality, light-hearted joker. Then we have Glugga Greggear, window peeper. Here's our peeping Tom. He arrives on the 21st. Now, before I lose you on this one, hear me out. That cave that the brothers live in has gray stone walls lit with only a few candles, which can be rather dull. That's why when Glogenganir comes into town, he loves to peek into families' windows at the bright colors and patterns. He thinks they are so beautiful. See, sweet, not creepy. Favorite treat, pancakes and milk. Personality, art lover. Uh, then we have get the Pifir, door sniffer. December 22nd, this Yule lad has an abnormally large nose and an excellent sense of smell. This allows him to locate scraps of food that have been dropped on the ground. He can't stand things that smell bad, so make sure rooms are tidy and dirty socks are in the laundry hamper before going to bed. Favorite treats, cookies, Laugh-a-brow, sweets, personality, cheerful, good company. We then have on December 23rd, Ket Krokir, meat hook. When Krokir was born, he was the smallest child, so Grilla fed him only meat to build him up. Now he has a great love for meat and refuses to eat vegetables. He uses a hook to steal all kinds of meat. His favorite treats are meat, meat, and meat. The personality is big and nosy. We then have the finale of Curtis Nickcare on the 24th. Candle Stealer. In the old days, candles were made from tallow, which is rendered animal fat. They were an edible treat for someone who had just traveled hundreds of miles in the harsh winter landscape. Look for teeth marks on your candles. Katanesketer sometimes likes to make sure he isn't missing out on any tallowy goodness. Favorite treat, candles, meat, cookies. Personality, mischievous and friendly. I've been here for years. The Yule lads' names are still difficult for me to pronounce. So he lived there and he still can't pronounce them. So I don't
Yeah.
feel too bad. And then we have real quick Iceland's witch, Grilla, the mother. Here's the mommy. Apparently, all you need to do is get kids in Iceland to behave is to tell them horrifying tales about being eaten by the giant witch Grilla. This character, so kind of like Krampus. I wonder if this is Krampus' wife. This character dates as far back as the 13th century in Norse mythology. Grilla, also known as Iceland's Christmas witch, comes down from the mountains in search of naughty children. As legend has it, she likes to eat humans, especially children, and boil them into soup. Now, although the Icelandic Yule lads look a bit frightening, it's really Grilla and Joe Kolruntuntat that you have to worry about, and that's the kitty cat. Jola Koturin, the Yule cat of Iceland. This Christmas kitty in Iceland is known as Jokolaturin. Old Icelandic folklore states that every Icelander must receive a new piece of clothing for Christmas. This is what you're bringing up. Every Icelander must receive a new piece of clothing for Christmas, or this giant Yule cat will prowl the streets in search of unsuspecting souls. Anyone who doesn't follow this rule. So I feel bad for the people who say I don't want clothes for Christmas, and that was always me. And maybe that's why I always see black kitty cats around this time of the year. But I thought that was pretty interesting. You brought those up too, the Yule lads and gorilla.
Oh yeah, yeah. The thing of it is, I've seen similar things. There's like with Krampus. Of course, for the eating children thing. That's up there with the Legends of the Draco Reptilians. But you have also there is a type of they call them elves in Ireland, not Ireland, Iceland, where there if you go out into the ash wastes basically from the volcano, there's like caves that people have said they've seen these little elves going in and out, these little goblin-like beings that the Yule lads would fit. I mean, they have allegorical type personalities to fit different like kid types, I suppose, in the lads, but in this, I suppose not all of them. But the whole thing is the one that you said hid under the bed. This
Mm-hmm.
one is actually quite interesting because I've had personal experience with something under a bed, and since beds are crawl spaces, things come and go from under there. If you don't have a bed that's to the ground, and paranormal activity has been known to happen in crawl spaces a lot and closets.
Mm.
So. And also the fear of something grabbing us, like we dangle a limo, but we could I'm 45, I still won't do it. So it's like in the middle of the night. So what happens? It's like the fear of the dark has to do with Neanderthals hunting regular humans from dark wooded spaces and stuff like that. It's ingrained in the DNA. With this, it's the same thing. Obviously, we encountered another cryptid type that did something similar. So what happened was my personal experience with it was the middle of the night. I hung my arm over the bed, and what everybody is expecting to happen actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
Where I saw a weird looking hand grab my forearm right here
Mm-hmm.
and tight, like gripped, and the hand was as big as mine. So I automatically pulled out, out of like what the hell is this? The fight or flight response. I yanked out what it was, and it was this weird looking thing, like a little goblin or something, had greasy hair on it, and it had these green golden like eyes, like
Hmm.
big, like this, and they were like this big. And this thing looked at me with like shock and then vanished. And sometimes we intersect certain frequencies, like we'll match a certain frequency so we can see whatever the thing is. The thing might be doing that a lot, but we just don't see it. Or it might be moving things in your house and you just don't see it. Like a
Yeah, like a trickster spirit.
Yeah, and we just don't see it unless you somehow shift frequencies, like in your sleep or something, and then you're seeing something temporarily.
Hmm.
People have seen these spider-like things on their walls before and blinked, and then they were gone because they shifted frequencies. With this, I'm thinking a lot of these little cryptids are in these little obscure frequency, like in between the number dial, somewhere like you dial on a radio. But
Hmm.
what happens is, we can shift that. I feel, with some of the behavior of some of these, like the peeping Tom one, that has been known to happen by a variety of different cryptids, where even Sasquatch does this. So you have, well, they'll look in windows. And the fact that they live in a dimly lit cave, that fits some of the Icelandic mythology surrounding some of these creepier, like elf creatures that live in these dimly lit caves that abduct people. Um, Also, the Jotun from the giants from Scandinavian mythology, there's like the shorter variety. And with Krampus, that got mixed with a mythos of a being called Albion, where it was this hairy, like dwarven, like goblin looking thing that would abduct children. The thing I saw under the bed looked more like the Albion type that would try to grab people out of their bed, like a changeling type of thing. But with these, this fits behaviors of some of these beings. Like they would steal food, all this. This fits also the brownie and boggart mythology as well. Where brownies, if you don't clean your space, they tend to harass you. With boggarts, they steal stuff, food and objects. And it's known gnome and leprechaun mythology as well, where it fits them stealing things or moving things in the
Hmm.
home. Uh, we In Arizona, one of the more interesting things that happened, another experience that we personally had, was I went, it was, we were living in Granville there in Prescott Valley. I was getting ready to do a recording with somebody. I walked towards the front of the house, and outside I had this like selenite egg that was sitting outside, this little, about the size of an actual egg. And
Hmm.
I had it sitting outside. Well, as I was approaching the blinds to the window, before I opened them, I just opened the blinds up. I heard this thud, outside. This like somebody falling onto the rocks outside. And I opened the thing up, and I see the selenite egg was all the way to the curb. It was like
Huh.
touching the curb. And I walked outside, and I see this indent in the ground that was the size of a small person.
Hmm.
And it was like somebody had tripped on the rock that was before it, and you could tell somebody had a large foot, like a floppy like foot, and tripped on the rock as they were trying to take the egg,
Huh.
and left an indent in the quartz chips that were outside. And so you could definitely tell something then fell and then dropped the egg, and it rolled to the edge of the curb. Like somebody trips and they fling something ahead, and it was like that. And I kind of did a little bit of the forensics on it, and you could tell the being was roughly less than 3 feet high, and was was in a like not a fetal position, but fell kind of on one of their shoulders or something when they fell forward, and had
Hmm.
the arm outstretched. You could tell by the indent in the quartz chips, and it was. I even spoke to us said if you're here, you can have that egg. I don't care. It's fine. You don't have to steal it. You can keep it. And but goes into the elemental category as well and Fey category too. But it was actually quite interesting because me and Joanna had kind of surmised it was kind of the same one of the same beings I'd seen under the bed. So it
Hmm.
but this is actually a match to also one more. This is an Icelandic story that happened in our modern day. What happened is this woman was found naked walking the kind of the ash wastelands outside where where it was just total ashland out in the wilderness, and these rescuers said they found her covered in tattoos like tribal tattoos, and when they asked her what had happened, she said little elves had abducted her and took her underground.
Hmm.
And then they thought she was nuts, but the thing of it is they couldn't explain where the tattoos came from, and she had been when they found out who she had been missing for 7 or 8 years,
Hmm.
and she said she had been held captive underground with other people that they needed to send a rescue team underground. They had been kidnapped, and nobody ever sent anybody because they didn't believe it was true. But this because she named a couple of them too, and she said they said that these were missing people. So at the time, but that coincides with a lot of some of it's allegorical to like different personalities of children and everything, but and trying to get kids to mind, but it's based on actual things that were from the area and
Hmm.
actual cryptids. And I found it interesting. You have Krampus, and of course you have the Yule Cat, which the Yule Cat, I have to say that the what's the word for the Yule Cat? The Jolakoturim. He I thought yeah. Let's see. Sorry if I'm
We're
butchering.
not the best with certain words and languages.
Yeah. So even like you said, one of the locals had a problem with that one.
Uh-huh.
Some of the creatures that you have a problem with it because it also came from an earlier tongue like Futhark or
Hmm.
that
Yeah, a
nature.
lot of them are pre-Christian.
Yeah, it's like the pre-Christian languages are harder to pronounce. So like Futhark,
Hmm.
that's that one with the symbols and the runic type language. But the cat, that seems like also a cryptid that is what was it? They show it in the movie. Oh God, what is it? Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. That displacer demon type, that cat that's in that.
Hmm.
There is a known demon type that is similar to the Displacer demon in the Dungeons and Dragons lore. And it's been known to just eat people in general and siphon soul energy. And it's a cat, like a black cat type of,
Hmm.
but that's the closest. That and the Wampus cat is the closest to the this particular one we were talking about, and it's basically it's in American folklore instead of Scandinavian. And it is a cat-like creature that varies widely in appearance, ranging from frightful to comical depending on region, and also in some instances, it was rooted in folklore, mythical origins rooted in folklore, with connections to Cherokee tales of a cursed woman or spirit that basically hid and was listening to a sacred conversation in the woods, and they cursed her, turning her into something that's also up there with the Skinwalker lore,
Hmm.
where the Utes and the Navajos cursed each other, kind of thing. But it's similar. And another varied descriptions can be scary monster with claws, gray creature with spots, or even six-legged beast or mascots. Regional name known as the Gallywampus or whistling wampus in different areas, and also going out and whistling in the woods if you hear something whistling back that's supposed to be like a form of a curse or you're about to be abducted or something like this. But this other cat was very similar. And one thing that got me, we were talking about how to keep kids in line, and this one, there's another one. This isn't really a cryptid. This is more of a folk person. This is like the another anti-Santa, like Krampus. but this one is pure Futard. Yes, it says it was part of his last name is Tard. Yes, but uh, it sounds like you're saying fucktard, but it translates to French for father whipper or old man whipper. And it is a character who accompanies St. Nicholas on his rounds during St. Nicholas Day, which is December 6th. That's the day after Krampusnacht. And dispensing lumps of coal, that's where the coal lumps in the sock comes from, and or beatings to naughty children while St. Nicholas gives gifts to the well-behaved. Uh, and I'd heard about the lumps of coal thing, just like you were talking about the milk and cookies one from the Yule lads. So that's where that part comes from. Then they all amalgamated it into Santa Claus after a while.
Yeah.
That's mostly Odin and his eight-legged horse, which then turned into Santa Claus, fusing Odin and Saint Nicholas of Elmira to Santa Claus and his eight reindeer. And then you had the builders of the Bifrost, which were the dwarves in Scandinavian mythology, that then became Santa's elves in the workshop. So that it all got, and also all these traits now, people with the cookies and the coal, and when you're bad, and also the anti-Santa Krampus, that is, some people consider Krampus to be Santa's altar, not even a separate being. They see it as like his projection of some kind. Like if you're bad, he's the one punishing you. Previous. That's the third explanation, other than the eating the kids or beating them. You have, oh, this is just Santa's altar. Like he's schizophrenic or something.
His
So
alter
yeah,
ego.
his alter ego, like he's just like Bruce Banner and the Incredible Hulk. It's kind of like the same difference. That's where most people are in that camp. Most people are in that camp for Krampus. So as far as what the lore actually says he is, most people are like he's an alter of Santa's. Uh, on the naughty list kind of thing. That's where the whole naughty list thing comes from. People think, oh, it's Santa. Basically, it's just Krampus writing the naughty list. Then some think it's Santa writing the naughty list, and the altar that actually implements the punishment is Krampus. So that's
Hmm.
how they describe it. Uh,
Yeah.
so I just thought that was fascinating. And the
I
other
always thought that I'd like think that they'd work more together. You know?
in the movie Red One, they show them as brothers. So that's when you see them as family versus just being the one being. And also, if you go in the cryptid camp, they're two separate beings. But most people believe he's an altar, supposed to be like an altar. So or like a Tolpa or a Grigorish type. That's where most of the people are. And Krampusnacht is actually the celebration of this on December 5th. And it's actually pretty cool. And Phantom Gigabyte and I were going over this one time on our show on Trifold Paranormal, where you see the parades, and then some people turn something ugly into something really awesome. And it'd be cool to cover a Krampusnacht celebration somewhere. It's up there with Christmas now. It's Krampusnacht. So I thought that was interesting. And another version of Grela is the Slavic witch known as Baba Yaga.
Yeah.
And
Baba Gaboosh.
yeah, Baba Ganoush, yeah. Baba Yaga is known as the fearsome cannibalistic ogress in some tales, and helpful, wise figure in others, residing in a hut on chicken legs, flying in a mortar, which is this house, symbolizing the wild, untamable aspects of nature and the boundary between life and death. She embodies contradictions, often testing heroes with impossible tasks, and serves as a powerful, ambiguous figure in Russian, Ukrainian, Belarusian, excuse me, tradition. And that's kind of like another morphing of Greylat. That's it's another version of that. Now, Ken, some of these, some people consider them allegorical. Like some people consider Loki to be allegorical. It's just an embodiment of mischief. Just like there was a story about, there's a famous story about Thor and Loki battling it out, and Loki curses Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, to where it won't always give Thor exactly what he wants all the time. It's slightly off, like a genie's curse. But some people see that as allegorical, as saying, "Oh, you don't always get what you want in life." People think that's what that means. Uh,
Hmm.
but like with Baba Yaga, they think that that's just an allegorical of the wilds and also the dangers of winter and all this other stuff. But these are based on actual like beings and demigods that have just kind of fallen into myth and legend, that these events happened so damn long ago that
Hmm.
they're just falling into legend because people have forgotten some of the context behind it. I could see where people could form like an egregore or a tulpa based on beliefs too. Religious groups do it all the time, but but some of these are still based off real people by which then these allegories are formed. So, like Odin, the stuff about Ragnarok happened half a million years ago. Would we remember anything other than bits and pieces? No. This is how I see it anyway. But these are the one. I think I had one more here. So let's see. Oh yeah. The This one varies for holiday. I'm trying to pronounce this one. This is a Greek name, so I'm probably going to butcher this. It is Kalikanzaros. There we go. Uh, and what do the Kalikanzaroids? I can't even pronounce this damn thing. Sorry, everybody. But they come down the chimney, urinate on the fireplace, befoul the food, water and wine, spoil the milk, break furniture, devour the Christmas pork, and terrorize people. So these are another version of like the Yule lads, but uh, but in a different culture, the Greek culture. These sound like almost like the Menehune of like Hawaii, where they're mischievous. But that's also a group of humans. They're even on the census. But the more mischievous ones, this would be like leprechauns, uh, um, and another one called Coclurian, that would be in Ireland, and the gnomish figures of like Ireland and fairy myths and jinn legends, things of this nature. And the jinn fit into what I said about Loki and everything too. But there's different names in different cultures, but the one that would break things, that's more the Boggart legends of the Celtic world. Like to Boggart or to Bogart, don't Bogart it, don't Bogart that. Mean, you heard that from Beavis and Butthead a lot. Don't Bogart my nachos, dude, that kind of thing. And to Bogart means to steal. So, and a Boggart is where that word came from. A Boggart is a gnomish type thief. So that's where that came from, is in both the Scandinavian world and the Celtic world. Uh, I think we're dealing all with the same kind of basic theme when it comes to that. There's also other types of different gnomish beings here in North America that are pretty nasty as well. And I just thought that was it just coincides with a lot of these different myths. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
And
if you have anything.
yeah, I want to pick up off of your horse Odin a little bit here. So not exactly him, but there's one called Marie Lwyd. It's like another Wales Icelandic sort of creature. In Wales, midwinter is the right time to look a gift horse in its gaping skull mouth.
Hmm.
So like decorate like a horse's skull, as you can see here if you're looking on screen. Around Christmas and New Year's Eve, Welsh families might find themselves challenged by a decorated horse or similar animal skull waiting for them on their doorstep. Adorned in colorful ribbons and bells, the equine image of death has an especially ghostly appearance thanks to the white sheet draped over a person carrying it. As revealers sing and parade this head on a stick around the neighborhood, doors open to meet the morbid white horse in battle, specifically a battle of wits through poetry. This is Mary Lwyd, a midwinter pagan tradition whereby celebrants earn food and drink only after dominating a poetry slam fronted by a skeletal face. That's kind of cool.
Hmm.
That'd be kind of fun. I could get down with that.
I've heard of that. Like they sing at your door and you have to sing back.
That'd
Yeah,
be kind of cool.
yeah.
Despite often being associated with Christmas, Mary Lwyd is a pre-Christian practice. In fact, some Welsh regions choose to parade their horse skulls through town for the other holidays, such as Halloween or May Day. Though the tradition's exact origins are murky, the image of a white horse has been a powerful symbol in the United Kingdom for at least 3,000 years. The practice also incorporates the centuries-old tradition of wassailing, from Middle English woes hoel, be in health, Wassail was originally a sugared and spiced drink of mulled ale, curled cream, roasted apples, and eggs. That sounds kind of good. I drank it. Those who partook in sharing a huge bowl of this boozy mixture were wassailing. The term evolved to describe the custom of begging for booze around Christmas, a time when poor merrymakers expected generosities that would usually be denied. They arrive at the doorsteps of wealthier neighbors and ask to drink from the wassailing bowl or have their own bowl filled. Modern Welsh wassailing isn't class-based, but the end goal remains the same. Wassailers earn an invitation to come in by proving themselves through a back and forth rhyming battle with the residents. Once instead, it's traditional cakes and ale all around. Wassail.
I've heard of that one. Yeah, that's another one I had on my list too, is that one. And the name I was trying to come up with before for the other creature was Puckwudgie. I couldn't think of it off
Oh, the Puckwudgie.
yeah, that's what I was trying to think of was for the North American version. But this thing, that thing with the skull, the horse head and everything, that I've heard there's like this weird cryptid that's out in the woods I've heard of that's like this God, they showed in the Witcher series there's like this Icor or whatever they called it. There's this not Icor. It's one that has like a skull of a deer. Sometimes the Wendigo legends are caught up in that, but then you have this other one that has like this skeletal type appearance. It's like a deer that's mainly from Europe. Some of it's Native American. They switched it over to the Wendigo legends. But with this, where people are challenged with like singing back and forth, they turned it into something playful. But it used to be on basically ancient spell casting where people would actually do the spell casting back and forth as a form of battling. And
Hmm.
eventually, in playful version, now it turned into like this, like the Mary. So what was it called? The Mary. You just said it. The
Oh,
Mary.
Mary Lwyd.
Mallowood, and also our modern day rap battling back and forth. But a long time ago, it had to do with casting spells back and forth. Some beings had the ability to transmorph beings into other beings. Or you saw it in Lord of the Rings, where you had Saruman and Gandalf yelling back and forth, or the Greybeards from Skyrim, where they used the power of the Thulum of Void. So, where you could transmute by giving something a command, uttering it at a particular frequency, and you can literally transmorph lead into gold. That's what the Philosopher's
Hmm.
Stone thing comes in. Some of that was based on technology. There was like an ET or something telling a computer something or a stone something, and it would transmorph something, giving it a command. But there's also the other where it's spells being volleyed back and forth, and now you have this singing back and forth. They said the origins were unknown. This sounds very much like a spell battle that was going, a type of thing that was going on in the Elfish period, what I call the Lord of the Rings period in Ireland, where it was the Tuatha De Danann versus the Fomorian wizards, and humans got in the middle. And when both those groups went away, it's like what Tolkien says in the Lord of the Rings, where he says the age of elves passed over to the age of men. So, and the world changed after that, and the energy changed after that. This is what this reminds me of. But now you have your modern day like sing offs, dance offs, rap battles, and this. So this kind of it reminds me of that. If anybody else has anything else to add to that, let me know. But this is what it reminds me of, based in other legends like that. But it just shows a familiarity to these other areas, and not to these other areas. But you never know what kind of branched off and became what. So, especially with the passage of time, you don't know from the history from the Tuatha De Danann period that was in some of Ireland's prehistory. They show it as the Irish defeating the Elvish people, and no, they just went back to Tirnanog and they were left inheriting Ireland. So
Hmm.
it's just like St. Patrick and the snakes of Ireland. He was
Just, I guess, think of it as Christmas as a whole storyline. Think of everything that's led up to Christmas as what it is right now.
mm-hmm.
And obviously it varies in different cultures too, so it's had an evolving history in different aspects in different ways, and they
Yeah.
all merge.
Yeah,
Kind
they
of
all
like the
kind of
whole
converge.
UFO. It's kind of like Roswell.
Oh yeah, everything seems to converge around Roswell. No matter how what you believe about it, it all seems all roads
Yeah,
lead to Roswell. Yes.
kind
So
of like these Christmas origins. They all kind of have a road that they lead back to.
yeah, it's just like the snakes meant like druids, like basically Ireland going Christian and rooting it of the paganism and the druids, and fairies and stuff like that. They managed to merge them, the fairy mythology and everything managed to merge with Christianity. But yeah, there's a lot of fusion. Like with the Viking world, you have a magical book called the Book that actually is a fusion of Christianity and old pagan spells and everything.
Hmm.
I would not recommend people use that book. There's some very dangerous spells in there, but the Goldra book. This is the main symbol that's on the Goldra book. If people are curious,
Hmm.
or the main protection one that's in there. But yeah, it's the more famous of the Viking symbols. But a lot of this is a fusion of like when Christianity basically tried to assimilate everything, and the Vikings were one of the only ones that were more successful in almost conquering the church. They almost did it.
Hmm.
And they conquered enough to where they altered the base language. That's not an easy feat to do, mind you. They don't have their own nation, mind you. It's all split up, but at the same time, they had that effect. So yeah, it stands to reason that a lot of their mythology bled over into Christianity because then the church took all the old earth religions and nature religions and assimilated it into Christianity. That's where you get 9/10 of the Bible stories from. So like Noah's flood story was from ancient Sumeria, and they just backed it up or forwarded in time to match Noah's Ark story and all that. We could go into that at some point too,
Hmm.
but yeah, that's what I was able to see. It's just a fusion. And Christmas is also based on Saturnalia. That's an old Roman holiday. Um, and that was the worship of the god Saturn. And some people say it was bad, that it was more satanic. That's where you get Satan
Hmm.
from. But then some people see it as a good thing. It was more the worship of Enlil, or the god of the Old Testament, Yahweh, but it was pre times in Roman. But also another definition for Satan was opposer, meaning opposer of the church. So people have some very different views on what this actually means and the origins of it. Some people will argue with Saturn, Satan. Some people will argue whether the Satan thing was either opposing an oppressor or was the oppressor. It just depends who you talk to. Uh,
Hmm.
that depends on the sect and the culture you talk to, who is actually the villain and who's the hero. So, like with the Michael and the Lucifer type of thing there. So, turns out it's the same thing. Mind you, it just got divided up again. But
Hmm.
because the Michael thing was just in, it got intermingled with the King Arthur tale, and now you have the Chapel of Saint Michael that has a sword in the stone. That's how it got integrated into King Arthur. So you could go on and on, but yeah, this has actually been pretty interesting. Do you have anything else, Aubrey?
Yeah, I was going to I wanted just to touch on one more that I wanted to get here. I don't have to share screen, but I just wanted to talk about this one. It's kind of a Krampus looking like creature.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called the Strageli or Stragil.
Mm.
In many places, such as Switzerland, uh, Perchta writes with a throng of demonic-looking helpers, known as Stragel, who love to partake of the feast offerings left out for them on Christmas by people hoping for Perch's blessings of wealth, health, in the new year. In some places, Stragel get to dole out all the punishments themselves and aren't terribly discerning as they rob all bad children and tear them to pieces in the air. So it's kind of a Krampus-like. I'll just share screen real quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
Kind
a
of a
Krampus like.
Krampus-like creature.
Yeah, that's a lot like Krampus. It's very similar. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Perchta is on our New Year's Eve. Perchta roams the earth, rewarding those who are hardworking and generous, and punishing the idle and greedy. Her punishment of choice involves slashing open your stomach so she may violently rip out your intestines, which are then replaced by straw, rocks, and garbage. The tradition of having goose for Christmas is sometimes linked to witches like Perchta, who often depicted as having a goose foot, along with the belief that goose fat enabled witches to fly. So
Interesting.
I
That's
thought
where
that
the
was kind
broom
of an
flying thing came.
interesting story.
Yeah, that's where the witches on the broomstick thing came from. Then, yeah,
And
okay.
then here's La Befana and Babugushka.
Babushka.
Babugushka.
What culture did that come from again?
Are you talking about Perchta
Yeah.
and Strageli?
Hmm.
Supposedly it is yeah, Swiss.
The Switzerland. Okay.
It says many
That's
places, but such as Switzerland.
Yeah, I've always wondered. I did not know about that one in particular. That looks like Krampus, and also back to Baba Yaga and all those. It's a nod to also Grail.
There's the zombie horse we were talking about. I just thought those were interesting.
Yeah, and that also the broom. I wonder where the broom, the flying on the broomstick thing came from. I did not actually know that one, and that you pointed that one out. So,
Hmm.
yeah, and also Harry Potter adopted that thing with the flying brooms and everything. So that makes sense. It was from the same general part of the world, the Scandinavian area there of the world. Makes sense that that would pop up. I had looked for the broomstick one, but I couldn't find that. But yeah, that's interesting. So. Yeah,
Babagushka.
Good. Yeah, the babushka thing, that's Slavic and also Polish as well. So yeah, that's actually very interesting. Anybody now, I know people make fun of this, like anybody that's wearing a hood, they're always nicknamed a babushka. So
Yeah.
and what's interesting is my mother used to have this ornament that used to hang in our kitchen back in Chicago when I was a kid. And this, although she called it the Apple Witch, and
Hmm.
it was like she said it was a good luck charm, where it was this creepy little like doll, like ornament that was about this
Hmm.
big, and it hung from above where we cooked from, like in the kitchen, and it was considered to be a good luck charm, and it was a babushka type witch. It was exactly like what you just mentioned, with on the broomstick and everything. It was the same symbology, the babushka.
Hmm.
And so I thought that was very interesting. She called it the Apple Witch or the Apple Lady. And
Hmm.
anybody wearing a hood, you're either a babushka or Apple Lady. So I've known that since I was a kid. There was like some link there. So that's interesting. We still have that creepy thing too. It's sitting in storage somewhere. It's this little. It's considered to be a good luck charm, and that's a nod back to the Baba Yaga or the Grela mythology as well. And I didn't know that link until right now with the broomstick thing. So that's actually that's probably why we had that in the house, is because it was considered to be by the by a good luck charm, but people didn't know what culture it came from. So. Now I can guarantee you, some people have things like lucky rabbit's feet and all this other stuff. I guarantee you, they're all linked to this as well. So at least I believe it is. I believe that's also Scandinavian. But
Hmm.
the Vikings sure came up with a lot of stuff in the Slavic cultures. And the Slavic cultures were a blending, and the Rus and everything were a blending of the Vikings when they merged with other cultures. So you got a lot of this, all the elfish type stuff and everything that blended into all of these Russian, Ukrainian. That's why all of them have this, because they're all from the same bloodlines. So and the same people, like you have the Rus that went this direction, went east, and you had the rest of them going this way. So uh,
Hmm.
now, the Vikings just had a lot of influence also in North America. The Mexican cultures, also down further down into the Arab cultures. You have some the Circassians, which are Persians that are white, and then you have the Viking lineage there. So they made a huge impact, but they spread their resources a little too thin, in my opinion. But so they could have
Hmm.
built their own nation if they hung tighter circle, deeper roots. If they just hung close, but. But yeah, I think we're at a good place to go into question answer here. But
Yeah, we can.
yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, this has been pretty
Yeah,
good.
I hope some people learned some stuff with that today. Now we're just going to see if we can get a little bit deeper.
Let's see here. Ooh, all right. Who wishes to speak today? Trooping. All right. All right. That would be Lane and Vesta are usually the two I talk to anymore. That would be these two.
Nice.
So uh so for people who have not seen that picture 100 times. So, all right. Let's see. Which one of you two? Lena, got it. All right. Ooh, got it. Right now. Yes, some of these stories did indeed come from ET sources from a long time ago, and some were indeed allegorical, and how humans interpreted what they were seeing. Because sometimes the people didn't know what they were seeing; they did not have a point of reference, so they either made up their own word, or they saw it as, however their brain was interpreting it, an encoding, decoding error or translation error. This is why you get those uh, weird anomalies where you see the orb with stick legs walking around kind of thing. This is a mistranslation that you are seeing. But the camera may be seeing something else, the technology may be seeing something else, or encoding and decoding it wrong, but your brain is the ultimate decider there. It's just like your Native American tribe, that they had never seen a sailing ship before. And they called them cloud ships. Some people have interpreted those as UFOs, which in some cases it was, based on older legends the natives knew about from the Lemurian Atlantean period, but from thousands of years prior. But that group of descendant lineages had never seen a sailing ship before. So from their perspective, they drew them as clouds. The sails looked more like clouds and it traveled on wind. But eventually, they'd start to describe wooden ships. They even made fun of this in your Doctor Who series, where they made this wooden dragon and made the other party encode and decode it wrong, so it looked like a dragon. So this has happened with telepathic races as well, and underground Agarthan races too. But for the most part, yes, there have been these little cryptids that go around like your puckwudgies, and they will cause problems. They will cause problems in homes. They will, but the most important thing to remember about even beyond this list of cast of characters, let's say, is this time of year is very powerful. There's a lot of voices in the wind. There's a lot of energy flying around. The winter solstice is a very, very special, potent time of year. The shortest day of the year being your December 21st. That day is up there with Halloween. Halloween would be considered the most powerful because of the chaotic nature of the Samhain. But, and All Hallows Eve and All Saints Day, but the more focused on one, bigger focal point in this way would be the winter solstice. The difference is Halloween is the strongest based on the amount of doorways that are open. The winter solstice is the strongest based on the amount focus on one point, and that is reverence for nature and that of balance of the earth and dimensions and such. And also, people then more, of course, morph this into Christmas. When you minus Christ from this, what you see is a time of the year where people are coming together and balance harmony, love, and companionship. This is, of course, people who say this is how they should be all the time, but, and balanced all the time, but focal points of that time of the year have always been focused on. So you can say this winter solstice is powerful for the focus. Halloween is powerful for the amount of doorways and portals that it wins the championship belt in that area. So I can actually go into questions if you wish.
Yeah, so it, it seems as if the celebration of Christmas on the whole scheme of things, especially more in America, I'd say, well, but globally as well, has either not been celebrated, forgotten about, or is dwindling. It feels like people just, don't care anymore like they do many things. But why is it with that, such as with Christmas, is there's been this, and not even just a celebration, but the research of the history, the characters, they just focus on the fantastical crap.
Yes, it is because of the fact that the true message of the period is being diverted from, including with the fantastical crap. Because, yes, as important as some of that is, as some of those stories are, the original message of it is being polluted. Whereas it is a time of balance, reflection, and of togetherness, family, all of this. It is the family unit, you see, that is being disrupted. It is that unity that is being disrupted. The original message and the reverence for this strong time of year. It is falling into chaos of commercialism, capitalism, and just all around convoluted messages that are being spewed all over the place. So it is to distract people away from their core self, their balance, their grounding, and their time of reflection. And Odin as well entered this time frame to be able to. This was also what he considers to be his time frame. It's just not his, but he would say yes. Though of course he was part of the whole Santa Claus mythology, all of this. But he would also say that he wanted to set this time in motion so people had a time to reflect on themselves and their own unity, you see, to not necessarily serve him like the mythology says, or the need to go to Valhalla or any of those. No. This is to basically a parent trying to get his children to be more independent and more balanced and not warlike. You see, some people say in love, but one could argue one could love to hurt somebody or help somebody, but to be more balanced, unified, and caring. This is what any parent would want to see their children surpass them. This is really what the meaning that is being convoluted.
Hmm. Very good. So when it comes to like these celebrations, uh, and I think like it's a power in number things, but it seems like some of these ancient uh Christmas style celebrations like Krampusnacht, they take on a certain energy. So I feel like they can be powerful. So dive on into like, the different, there's all sorts of different things that go on, but the describe how powerful that power and energy is whenever,
Mhm. Yes.
events like that take place.
Yes, even though some of the things were about people keeping their children in line, even though I wouldn't always recommend that if some children are psionically powerful and can create the topaz to bite you in the ass, basically. With this though, powerful things like Krampusnacht, even though taking something dark or something also perceived as dark as well, some people saw that as more Titan forms versus Olympian forms, like Olympian versus Titan. But in this case, it was more creepy cryptid versus like a devil and angel type of thing. But with this, they took something as creepy and as nasty as Krampus was supposed to be and turned it into something joyful. Again, in this bracket and time of year, this is not just on the 21st, it's a period of time, like your Samhain is a period of time. You're leading up to the 21st, the shortest day of the year. So, this said, the Krampusnacht, it falls within that bracket. They are taking something nasty and turning it into something fun and good, even if it is showing the ghoulish forms. This is turning around the the very premise of which that was originally built, which was fear. They're taking it and turning it into unity, love, and balance. This is the key right now. This
Hmm.
is what you take some of these old things and switch them around. Even if you are afraid of certain words out there, like if you don't agree with their connotations, you can flip them around into something. This will happen over time with some of your racial slurs and things of this nature. But to start out, it's with certain events. Eventually, Christmas will revert back to the solstice, as it was
Hmm.
originally before it was turned into Christmas and commercialized as to just focused on Jesus Christ. It was focused on more about the period in itself, uh, inter retrospectiveness, and now it has turned into focusing on an external savior. You see the difference? Yes.
Hmm. I think that's pretty good. You kind of answered my next question a little bit about that. I guess if you have any final messages about people in this holiday season, what would it be to help them capture their holiday jolly spirit?
Well, to capture the holiday jolly spirit, this is something that has to be found from within. It is to get let go of that which does not serve. The people always call them Scrooges or grumpiness. They always say capitalism was the thing that, like in Scrooge, that he was a capitalist, therefore he was anti-Christmas. That's not always 100% true. You can take joy in making money, but at the same time, not always overshadowing like what happens in your medical industry or things of this nature, not always overshadowing the compassion that needs to be shown, like you see with your Scrooge at the very end, where he changes over to have an open heart. It has to be found from within, capturing not only the inner child, not the fearful side, but that is scared of everything, the fight or flight. I'm talking about playful, creative aspects. Once you recapture this within, then then you can actually bond more with your fellow people. It does not matter which ethnic group, nor does it matter which belief or political or otherwise system that they are under. It matters that you are actually starting to get along, even agreeing to disagree. Doesn't mean you need to hug, doesn't mean you need to sing kumbaya. It just means that you're not harming or killing one another. This is a powerful time of year that you see some of your bad guys trying to exploit. They try to make certain traditions, like, say, your Black Friday, for instance, where people are trampling each other, and they make it a capitalist holiday instead of that true meaning of finding that balance from within. And even if it doesn't matter what you have to do, breathing exercises, walking, exercising, running, it doesn't matter what you are meditating, it doesn't matter what you have to do these things. This is the time of year for the establishment of that balance. Hence why they came up with the New Year's resolutions type of thing that nobody follows, because they make this insurmountable list and then they break their own promises to self. In this, it was never about New Year's resolutions. It started with this time of year right now, leading all the way through to something that a new foundation would be established. It's a foundation that must remain indefinite and unwavering, essentially the immovable object amidst the unstoppable force.
Well, kumbaya. I think that was pretty excellent. You answered everything that I wanted out of that. So, hell yeah.
Hmm.
Thanks for popping through.
Yes, I thank you. I will now detach now, and I know people say Merry Christmas. Where I'm from, we would just say Merry Solstice or Happy Solstice, things of this nature, the whole alignment of the dimensions and planetary alignments, but also the lining of the dimensions or conjunction of the spheres, let's just say, in that way. So I thank you all.
Very good.
Yes,
I think,
that is pretty true. You could tell this time of year, despite what belief the system you're under, whether you're a Jesus worshiper or you're a solstice, somebody that reveres the solstice. Yeah, it's just let's leave each other alone. Don't poke at each other. It's like I don't care if you believe what, just leave people alone. Just unless you're going to be doing something nice or something anything like that. It's one of those falls under that. If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all, kind of thing. And if you're one of those that's constantly having to poke at somebody because they're not in the Christmas spirit, please stop it. And also on the other side of the fence, if you're constantly poking at somebody because they're a churchgoer, please stop it. So just I've run into both. So
hmm
I'm not a church person. I've never been really a churchy person, but can I get into the lights and the Christmas stuff? Yeah, I can get into that part of it. Just like you see, I got the string of lights behind me. And yes, has Christmas dwindled? I know that question wasn't complete touch on. Yes, it's because of the convolution of the messages, and also whether you believe in the Jesus thing or not is irrelevant. It's the other thing. And also, I noticed going up and down the streets, there's hardly anybody that has Christmas lights up. There's barely
Same. I
anybody.
didn't put them up this year. I haven't noticed that. It's the least amount I've ever noticed.
Yeah, and last year even had more. And I got into some neighborhoods where whole groups of
We
houses.
decorated inside, but
Yeah, we have some on the outside that we put the same stretch of them out
you
every year.
put a tree up.
Yeah, we put a tree up too, and it can be seen from the street if we have the shade open. But yeah, we didn't even see that. Now we went into a different neighborhood when we had Joanna's grandson with us. We wanted to show him light, so we drove him through different neighborhoods. Most of the houses were dark, but we happened to hit one neighborhood that had them everywhere. And there was like these old colonial houses that had the candles in the windows and stuff like that, and then had like the old colonial like the pillars and everything. It looked really cool, but it has downgraded big time. I mean, it doesn't matter, guys, if you believe in the thing or not. Kind of just do the festive thing with the lights, at least. Make the whole neighborhood brighter. I think
hmm
that it seems the colors seem to
Yeah,
actually
that's
bring
what I
out
like
the
about
best.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I like about it anyway, is that and the
More
fact
color equals more vibrancy.
you get crap on Christmas. I think everybody likes that, but it's like,
Yeah.
but
Consumerism bullshit. If you don't buy your family gifts, you don't love them and you don't care
yeah,
about
oh yeah, oh I've had that same thing too, where it's like, oh, you must not love it. It's like maybe because I don't have the money to get it. How's that sound? Yeah, it's like,
basically.
yeah. So it's like, yeah, I just aside from all the commercialism, at least put some lights out. Do something like that.
I know it's affordability is a big thing. We're gonna have one on money. That's why I'm gonna start my own OnlyFans where I start selling my used underwear that I wear 3 weeks straight without washing.
That's an
If
eBay.
anybody's interested in that, I'm gonna start selling them for I don't know 3 grand.
Uh,
$100 per
bidding starts
day.
at 3 grand. Yes.
I'll wear them $100 per day for 30 days.
Selling
Yeah.
your old Q-tips you use in the morning.
Yeah, I just keep putting baby powder in the shorts, to keep them fresh.
Yeah, that's funnier. Hell, people.
But I hope you guys learned something today and you have a good Christmas and we'll catch you guys in the next episode and comment already now where the next episode we're gonna have our New Year's predictions. So we'll have a prediction episode. And maybe we should do a remote viewing exercise for all the fans.
Yeah, yeah. Try that one out. See what they come up with by the time we do the next one.
Maybe you put an object in a box and I put an object in a box and they comment on both.
Yeah,
And I try to do your box and you try to do mine.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's not a bad one. Yeah.
And yeah, everybody can give us your New Year's predictions too, now or then. Comment them now. That way you can get ahead on the next episode and let us know what you think about this Christmas episode also.
Absolutely, folks.
But
Yeah,
New Year's is around the corner, and we want to see if anybody's predictions come true.
absolutely. Yeah, and then we can comment on it on the next one. Yeah. So that'd be great.
Yeah, but until then, you guys have a good Christmas and stay aware and be holly and happy.
Everybody, yes, do that. And now you are now leaving the conspiracy sector. So thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Adios.